today and sharing a little bit and sharing a bit of your story. And I guess Mark's situation, if you didn't pick up from that video, is that you were diagnosed with MS when you were 18?
Onset was 20 years ago this December.
So 20.
And diagnosed 17.
You're diagnosed at 17. So you've been living with this because you're 40 now.
Yes.
So you've been living with this for over half of your life.
Yes, I can proudly say I've had this for more than half my life.
Congratulations. I guess I wanted to dig a little bit, and I've pre-warned Mark, so I've told him some of these questions, but I wanted to dig a little bit more. I'm going to come a bit closer. Because, you know, so many of us, when we're faced with illness, we have these big questions in our life about where is God, what is He doing, what does He mean by all of these things, and what is it for me, and how does it make sense for me? Mark, obviously you've been in a wheelchair for quite a number of years now. And your capacity to do things has been limited. How do you deal with the frustration of not being able to do things and that you'd like to do?
I go back probably to the childhood, the advice to all the kids. I count to 10. And then I kind of start praying. And two things happen. One thing I am reminded about how God provides. One of His names is Jehovah Jireh. And I've proven that time again. I haven't proven it, He has. That He's provided for me every step of the way. I can't do some things, but He provides people that can step in and can help do those things. I'm able to be present for some of the milestones of my children, their first steps, walking, all this sort of thing that normal people wouldn't maybe miss. But the other thing I will remind myself, I know where I'm going when I die. I'm going to heaven, and when I get to heaven, I'm going to have a perfect body. That means I can run, I can walk. I joke and say I can work up a sweat. And that's one of the first things I'm going to do.
It's not that glamorous, really.
Sometimes I wish I could. But yeah, I remind myself that I'm going to be going to heaven, and if I'm here on this earth for 80, 90 years, compare that to eternity, it's less than a speck. So I'm going to be able to walk and have a perfect body much more than I will be confined to a wheelchair.
Still reckon I'll be able to beat you in a race, but anyway. I mean, I guess that itself is probably going to be part of the answer to this next question, but I know that you've been to many healing services, you've prayed often for healing. I mean, we as a family have, and you have, Adrian, and you've laid that before God many times. And to this point in time, you haven't received healing, either a miraculous healing or there's been times where you've improved and been sort of ups and downs, and we're still hopeful for a cure for MS, and we're still hopeful that even the treatment that you're on now might improve things. But you haven't seen that healing. Again, how do you reconcile that with a God who has the power to heal you, but who has for some reason not done so at this point in time?
I'd have to say again, two things. First thing is God is sovereign, and He is. I am inspired by Johnny Erickson Tata.
Not everyone here might know the story of Johnny Erickson Tata.
She broke her neck back in about 1971, I think it was.
As a
And
teenage
she's
girl.
quadriplegic. Same sort of thing. God could heal her and get her walking, but He hasn't. And I said to think to myself, if God can use me more the way I am now, in a wheelchair with MS, who am I to turn around to God and say, you heal me? No, don't leave me this way. And that's the thing. Primarily in my thought is that God is sovereign. The way I am, He knows it, and He hasn't healed me. That's fine. And then just a second, I looked at some of your songs this morning, written by Chris Tomlin and Louis Giglio. And there's something Louis Giglio I heard once say, that God paints His masterpiece on a canvas as wide as the universe. But you know what we see? A little snapshot. Photo size 6 by 4 inches. We may not understand why, but it's not for us to know why. He's the artist, he's the one who's painting it.
You must get down though at times. Even on the video, when I was videotaping you last week, I said, well, don't get angry at God. There must be times that you get down and a little bit sort of depressed. What part does God and your faith play in those situations to keep you going?
Those 2 points that I've already said of God is sovereign and God is sovereign, He's my provider. They're two major things in my life. And then the third thing that I would have to say is that if I didn't praise God, He said Himself when He entered Jerusalem, if the people don't praise me, the rocks would. And that's how I feel. If I don't praise God regardless, then creation does.
So it comes down to a choice.
It is a choice, and we often say to each other, I don't know how people survive going through MS or whatever without God. We know a number of people with MS who don't know God, and it's so negative and sad.
This is what we said last week, wasn't it, when we were talking about death? We asked that question. How do you survive the death of a loved one without that hope, without God in your life? And we're hearing it again today.
Yeah. Now, I could go on for hours.
We haven't got hours. So I encourage you to maybe catch up with Mark after you're hanging around for some morning tea.
Yes, yeah.
Catch up with him or his wife Adrian and have a chat and find out a little bit more about their story. But I really just appreciate your honesty and again, vulnerability in coming to share with us some of your journey. I know it hasn't been an easy one, but it is an inspirational one. How you cope with it and how you deal with the circumstances that are yours to deal with. And I really appreciate that. And take my hat off to you and to Adrian also and all of you as a couple. Do you want to give Mark a round of applause?